Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and do I have an amazing woman to introduce to you, Iana J. Daniels. Welcome, Iana.
Thank you, Linda.
Absolutely. All right, so every day is an opportunity for change. It's an opportunity for plenty of things, and especially change. So, what comes up when you think about every day is an opportunity for change?
Oh my gosh, so many things.
As you heal through PTSD and all kinds of things.
Oh my gosh, I'll go back briefly to the everything is temporary, you know, and in the middle of when you're in the midst of a storm, I will say, when you're in the midst of a storm or when you're in the middle of that dark tunnel, sometimes it's hard to imagine something else.
Ooh, there you go.
Yes, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's hard to think that, oh my gosh, my life will get better.
Yeah, hard to
It,
believe
because
it.
you, yes, because you're so consumed in your grief and in your suffering.
Yeah.
And instead of looking up, you continue to look at your toes.
Yeah. And we forget how
And
connected we are. And when we
you
disconnect from
do.
ourselves, we disconnect from others. And then we're really screwed because we are meant to be alone as well as part of the group. And being in a healthy group allows you that flow of, connection and disconnection, not the toxic disconnection
But
of
that's
like
where the shame
depression.
comes in,
Yes. Oh,
right?
yes.
Because of the we're still understanding the breadth and depth and the full spectrum of mental health and mental health disorders.
Right.
And when you are suffering and you're in that space, sometimes you don't want to reach out
Mm.
because your loved ones want you to be better.
Yeah.
They think you should be better,
They
but
have
you
their
don't.
own set of denial.
Exactly, but you don't feel better. And in your own self-destructive way of protecting them, you lie to them that you're feeling better,
Mm.
which also makes your suffering worse
Yeah.
because the energy that you're putting in to putting up a face and a mask every day
Yeah.
is the energy that you're taking away from your own recovery and your own growth.
Brilliant.
So it is important to know that, hey, I know you want me to feel better, and I know you think I should feel better, but this is how I feel right now.
Oofta.
And this is how I feel. This is so knowing that everything is temporary and every day you wake up, it's a blessing. And part of that blessing is the choice to do something different.
And bless yourself and take that
That is
burden off your
that
shoulders. And that
is
was
that is
brilliant.
so true. And it's also important to know that regardless of where you are or what you've been through,
Yeah.
as long as you're alive and breathing, well, it's the same thing. As long as you're breathing, as long as you have the breath and the gift of life, you can do whatever it is you want to do.
Mm.
You can change your hair color just like you can change your hair color this afternoon. I have salt and pepper hair right now. By this
Right.
afternoon, I can have red hair.
Yeah.
So too, you can approach the choices and the decisions that you want for your life.
Yeah.
You get to choose every day.
Yep.
Do I want to do the same thing today? Or do I want to make a slight change?
Right.
And sometimes when we make a decision to change, and it's a lesson I had to learn very hard. We think of the big changes all the time. I need a house, I need a new car, but what about the little changes?
Mm.
Maybe I need to go to bed a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I can have better sleep. Maybe I need to wake up a little bit earlier so I can have the best time of the morning for myself. Maybe I don't need to go to every party. Yes, my
Yeah.
friends want me to hang out. I don't have to hang out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those little choices that we made for ourselves, they're important. And that's what I started focusing more on the little things that I do every day.
Yeah, that
Because
self-love, self-care stuff.
the little things
Absolutely.
that I do every day
Mhm. Our choices
are
that you get
choices,
to make.
and they also set me up for something spectacular. I
Mm.
do not have to run behind the bright, shiny objects to
Yeah,
get
right. The
to get to my
instant
treasure.
dopamine hit. Yeah, you're working on your serotonin
Exactly.
levels, that little bit,
Yes.
and it's enough. I love that. Okay, and mistakes are inevitable. So what comes up for you when you think about the word mistakes? There's only, that I always say there's no mistakes in life, only valuable learning experiences. How do you feel about mistakes
Well,
are inevitable?
I intentionally use the word mistake in part from my military background, right?
Right?
So I remember early in my military career, there was this phrase, zero tolerance for mistakes, which
Wow.
also, I guess
No
at the
pressure.
time, and no pressure, but it also forces people to make choices that are unethical,
Yeah,
sometimes illegal.
for sure.
Um, and then just in my personal life, as the eldest, I'm the eldest child. So whether or not my parents told me so, or actually my dad did, that you have to be perfect. You have to be
And you're
all.
responsible.
And as the eldest, I was responsible at one point for everything that happened or did not happen in the household. So I moved out of that thinking that I have to be perfect. I
Right.
have to do everything right. But then that also adds to your trauma, it adds to your stress,
Yeah.
it adds to everything.
Yeah.
Because now you want to do everything must be all I's dotted 5 times, all T's crossed 5 times, everything
Yeah.
underlined multiple times.
Mm.
And in trying to achieve that, you miss other things in life.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah. And
we are all human.
mhm,
We are all infallible. We are not perfect beings. I
right.
mean, if we just look at our skeletal, right? If we just look at your skeletal framework, no one is the same.
Right.
Our skin, no one is the same. There's no perfect human being. So recognizing that you're not perfect, the world is not perfect, the game is rigged. So
Yeah.
you are going to
The
make a
game is
mistake,
rigged.
right? You are going to make a mistake
And that's okay.
according to someone else.
Well, there you go. Yeah, right. Who is judging that mistake in the first place? I love
I
it.
know. There's this quote. I don't know if I will quote it accurately, but in The Alchemist,
Yeah.
I'll just express a sentiment. He expressed it. Everyone has an idea of how you should live your life, but they don't have an idea how to live theirs.
Yeah.
Or in the words of one of my coaches, she said to me, because I was guilty of that a lot, and maybe to a certain extent now. She said, you need to get rid of your instruction manual
Oh, good one.
for other people's lives.
Ew. Ow.
But and I was like, oh, she
Ouch.
is such a, because I'm the eldest. So in my mind, I have to have an instruction manual for how my sisters should live because they're my responsibility.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
then it's interesting how you have the same conversation with different people. And then a day later, I was having a conversation with my mom, and it was about my baby sister, who I treat almost as my kid. She said,
Okay.
I know she's your baby sister, and I know she's like your kid, but as your mother and her mother, let it go.
Wow.
She is an adult. I was like,
Busted. I love it. This is good.
and so like those, and it says something when you have the same conversation worded differently multiple times in the same frame, in the same time span with different people,
Yeah,
then that's your message to back the heck off.
I love it. I
And
love
I
it.
and I had to. You know, I make mistakes, so I have to allow my sisters to live their lives. They're adults. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all in our 40s now. Well, not quite for my baby sister, but we all have our own lives.
Yeah.
And I needed to get rid of my instruction manual for them.
Oof, that's a heavy one. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That was deep. Appreciate
Thank,
it.
thank you, Linda.
Absolutely.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.